It is November 16, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray Wreck Site and the Port of Brunswick today. And out at the site, they had a huge chunk of the deck. We're going to get back to that in just a second, but first we want to go out to the port where, I hate to say it, we're seeing more problems out there at the port with lack of containment boom around some of these barges. For you members of the Minorcan Navy that have been with us for a while, you know, this was one of the things that got us a little worked up was some footage that we had from a drone of some oil that was getting out of one of the barges, one of the early pieces that was brought in, and that we were assured that at that time everything else that was brought into the Port of Brunswick was going to have containment boom around it, and there wouldn't be any more problems. Well, so we went out today and we're just kind of looking around, and yeah, sure enough, we're seeing this is section 4 we're coming up on, and not a stitch of containment boom around section number 4 in the Port of Brunswick. And that's not the worst of it. There was even more. Two of the barges that were brought in with cars that have been pulled from the wreck site without any containment boom, and visible product coming off the barges and into the water. And we've got footage of that coming up, so we're going to show you. But right here you can see what's piled up on these barges. Just a mass of mangled vehicles. Some that have been ripped in two. Some that have obviously been burnt. Just horrible condition. And if there's any saving grace here in this photo, it's that they're in a hopper barge that has an area that's kind of, you know, these barges are kind of hollowed out in the middle and have an area where there is some containment. But that's not to say that this thing should not have containment boom around it while it's in port. Same as this with this section, it should be there, and it's not there. Now this barge, this is actually 2 barges, and they've been the spuds are down on the barges, so they're kind of moored or anchored, if you will, by these spuds. That's those large steel pipes that are vertical in the back. Spuds are lowered down, and they kind of hold that barge into position. But here we see this is just a flat barge that's had an elevated wall around it that is broken in bits and pieces. It's not really containing much of anything, and we'll show you that in just a second. And this is another barge that is tied up right alongside of it, and it's loaded with decks and bits and pieces of cars and things and just debris. And right there you can see that some of this barge is draining and running off into the waterway. That's not the worst of it. As we come around and look back at the first barge that we looked at, you're going to see just how much fluid is running off the front of this barge and into the waterway. And we were sure hoping that, you know, we wouldn't have to see this kind of thing again, after assurances were made that it would not happen again. And here we are looking at it. And folks, Minorcan Navy, this is why we're out doing this kind of thing now, because we're really not getting a straight story. There obviously oil running out. Look at the fluid that's running off the deck of this barge, and this stuff is just running right down into the river in the Port of Brunswick. Not a stitch of containment boom around it. And someone should be monitoring this a little closer. We're going to take the drone and we're going to fly over this. And now, once we get on the far side of this, you will very easily be able to see this product coming off of these barges in a streak right across It's going to be off the end where the two vertical poles, the spuds, are down, and there you can start to catch a glimpse of it. And as we come around, it really just pops out. You can see it. You can't help to miss it. There it is. Just so much stuff coming off of it, and it's just a shame to see. Totally preventable. This is looking down into the barge, some of the material that's in there. This sludge, this concoction, is just kind of running down off the barges and into the water. We just don't understand how this is overlooked and how it's allowed to happen. Again, if the reinsurances hadn't been made, this wouldn't bother us so much. But here we are again, looking at problems that arise with the operation. And there's still a lot more cars to get up. I mean, that's the thing. We need to do that. This is the area down where they're disassembling Section 5. You can see the containment boom completely around everything these guys are doing on this end. We're just wondering, why is it not down on the other end? Well, back out of the site, yeah, they had a large section which we think is a piece of the deck. We say that because we could see white paint on it, and if this was the side of the ship that was down in the water, we feel pretty confident it would be just completely mudded over and just full of all kinds of sea life that would be adhering to the hull. But this was a big piece, and they had this piece kind of pulled up against the barge with the 533 using that big hydraulic claw. And we were out there till 4 o'clock this afternoon, and it was still there. So they were trying to figure out a way to get this thing worked up onto a barge, but it is a large piece of debris that they have hooked onto. And we sure hope that they can get it on the barge this evening. It may be one of those things that they have to hold through the night and wait until daylight to get a better perspective on the situation before they're able to do something with it. We'll try to take a look at this tomorrow and try to let the Navy know what's going on with it. We thought this was pretty interesting, this big piece. It really got a monster, a whopper on the end of it. You can see that they've got it pulled up pretty far up on the barge, with a lot of it still in the water there. Very large piece of debris. Well, hey, that's going to do it for the report. We're going to ask you, if you're watching the videos and you're enjoying what you're seeing, click on that subscribe link. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. We enjoy getting comments. They kind of keep us going. But most of all, we want you guys to stay safe out there.